Ek is 'n vrou. Ek is meer as net mamma, ek is honger. Ek is meer as 'n wasgoedophanger. Ek is meer as al kinderstories en stertjies en ek is definitief meer as 'n man se weergawe van my waarde. Diep in die kamers van my hart lê daar lewe. 'n Kind word vanuit my gebaar en gebore en ek voed 'n gesin uit die krake van my hande. Soms voel ek soos 'n stofsuier wat die familie se stof opsuig en stoor tot en met ek hoes. Diep in my are is daar 'n kragstasie gereed om in my mag te stap. Maar ek word weggesteek agter die woorde, onderdanige vrou, en dit voel asof ek nie kan beweeg. Al hierdie opofferinge vir 'n man wie my nie eens kon respekteer in die teenwoordigheid van ander vroue nie. Diep binne in my siel skuld ek myself omgee. En vir 'n leeftyd voel ek aan voorkoppe om temperature te meet en vir 'n leeftyd was ek skoolklere en probeer 'n oliekool uit 'n blou pak uitvryf wat net so hardkoppig is soos ek en ek pak myself aan hoor ek nie lyk soos ander vroue nie. Of ek dalk nie my hare op 'n ander manier kon vou nie. Maar terwyl die wasgoed hang, is dit wat opgevou moet word. En ek sê weer, ek is meer as net 'n wasgoedophanger. Ek is meer as net mamma, ek is honger. Ek is meer as al kinderstories en stertjies. En ek is definitief meer as die man se weergawe van my waarde. Ek is 'n vrou. En ek is waardevol.
Wow. Welcome to the Western Cape Teachers Forum, a platform where we educate, empower, and excel. In the words of the social media vlogger Daikant, ek is meer as 'n man se waarde, ek is 'n weergawe van my waarde. Ek voed 'n gesin uit die krake van my hande. Ek is meer as net 'n wasgoedophanger. Ek is meer as mamma, ek is honger. Ek is 'n vrou en ek is waardevol. Sure. How profound, and thank you very much to Daikant. Now, again, this is Women's Month and we continue to celebrate our women warriors in education. And so to all the ladies out there who are continuing to shining their lights bright wherever they are, we celebrate you, we salute you, and we are encouraged by your excellence that you're creating. Thank you for the role that you play to us as men and our children. Now tonight we're speaking to one such warrior in education. She started a teaching career at Duine Primary School in Lansdowne, and she joined the Duine Primary School in 1992 as an Afrikaans medium teacher. She's also the spokesperson of the Progressive Principals Association. And I'm talking to none other than Mrs. Anthea Adriaanse. Anthea, good evening and welcome to the Western Cape Teachers Forum.
For extending the invitation to myself. I feel privileged. I know there's lots of others that you could possibly have asked, but yeah, you chose me, so here I am. I hope I'm not going to disappoint you.
Not at all, ma'am.
Of course.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for sacrificing your time to come and inspire our people tonight. Now, Anthea, before we get into the crux and the flesh and bone of the conversation tonight, I'm going to ask you a couple of icebreaker questions. One, what is your superpower that nobody knows about you?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I think most people that know me know everything about me. But probably that I'm actually a very shy person. And I think to an extent, yeah, sometimes I might appear very confident, but sometimes I do lack some confidence. But I think my superpower or my power, I wouldn't class it as a superpower, but my power would be my belief and my faith in God.
Great stuff. And did you have a nickname at school, Anthea? I know you know how kids are at school. Did you have any nickname that nobody knows about?
Well, I can't say nobody knows about it because somebody that I know learned recently, he sort of called me by a name that I found rather strange, and that was the name Ants. And I know a couple of my friends, particularly some family members, they called me Ants. Some of them still do. And then also some later on in life, shortened my name and called me Annie. So it's Ants and Annie.
Ants and Annie. Wow, I can live with both of them. Now, Anthea, let's get into the conversation tonight. Now, after having listened to that insert earlier, and we celebrated Women's Day earlier this month on the 9th of August. Do you feel that we celebrate our women enough as a society?
It's not an easy question to answer. And we shouldn't be celebrating women as such. We should be celebrating everyone. We know the history of women, the past, etc. And it's important that that needs to be brought to the fore, that everyone has an opportunity to realize that as women we can do as much as any man can do, because there's always this stereotypical portrayal of that women are that barefoot pregnant in the kitchen, and unfortunately there are still some with that mindset, and I think slowly but surely we are eroding that thought. But it shouldn't just be something that is, celebrated on one day. It's something that must become a part of our everyday existence. And when one looks at all the heinous crimes against women today, then you actually wonder, is that message really coming through? We celebrate it on the 9th of August, but what happens on the other 364 days of the year? You have the month of December also, where you have this, what is this women's awareness, and you still
Yeah.
find terrible things happening to women, and I don't know if enough is being done at the moment.
Yeah, sure. Now let's bring it back to teaching and education specifically. Now, you started your teaching career many moons ago. Now, looking back at yourself as a first-time teacher, what advice would you have given yourself back then?
I'd have probably said, pack your bags and run. If I'd known what it was like today, I would have told myself, you in the wrong profession, just, run for your life. But yeah, I think that when you start out teaching, I must say upfront that it was not a career of my choice. It was probably out of necessity that I ended up being a teacher. I hadn't given it thought. I matriculated at Livingston in 1986, and I hadn't given much thought to what I wanted to do. And of course, I had to do something. And, then they said, right, you can apply for the bursary to become a teacher. But okay, fine, let's fill in the application. And I ended up at Hewitt College of Education, probably, best 4 years that I can remember. Met many influential people that I still see today and still collaborate with today. So it was an important stepping stone in my life. And that is how I ended up being a teacher. Our family did not have money to send me to study, and there wasn't that motivation like, what are you going to do with your life? Like we would today sit down with our kids and we start already at a young age, and, what is your goal for the future? Where do you want to be? So it sort of just happened. It's a decision that I made. It wasn't even involvement of parents, really. So yes, so having started out, it wasn't as difficult as it is today. You had shorter days, you left at 2:30,
Yeah,
the learners left, and off you went
yeah,
home, and demands weren't so great. So yeah, I think I had a good platform on which I started my career, the two schools, very good schools, and the people that I found myself surrounded by, I think they were quite inspirational in my journey to where I am today.
yeah. Yeah, no, look, I can tell you, if I look at all the female teachers, or the younger folk that are coming up through the ranks, I'm excited about what education holds. I know there's so many challenges currently. I mean, you said earlier you would have told yourself back then, take your money or take your bag and run. But if I must look back, I mean, my career spans a period of 15 years, which is not that much compared to some of the rest of you. But I've had certain lull periods in my career as well, where I've really felt, no, this is not for me. I need out. And sometimes Facebook reminds you of those random memories that pops up and say, you've posted this, you've posted that. And it's really a stark reminder of our emotional state of mind at the time, even in a time like this. Now, if you have to look at it, this current, I don't want to talk about COVID-19 because we've really exhausted the topic and the effects that it has. But just, in short, what are some of the important lessons that this pandemic has taught you?
I think mostly it's about communication, openness, transparency. It's not what you think, it's not what you feel, what is the right way. You need to be in touch with those who surround you. So what I would almost recall like my soldiers would be my SMT. So my thinking, might be completely different because I'm in an office, right? And their ears are on the ground. So teachers would speak more to them than what they would do to myself as the principal. So you hear things from them like, maybe you should speak more about if somebody is absent, and inform the staff this is the reason, because people are anxious, so they don't know what is wrong with the person. And so it's also about, that balance between the person's privacy and then also trying to, appease the anxieties that people
Yeah.
have. So I think communication, being open, being transparent, and also showing your staff that you are understanding, that your door is open, that and that you are also vulnerable. That you are not that person that's there to just run a school, but that you're also there
Yeah.
to support them, whatever their insecurities or whatever their anxieties may be.
Yeah. Yeah, and yet it would appear that our line has somehow deteriorated, and that is the challenges with technology at times. We try our level best, but you never can prepare on the day. There seems to be a bit of a lag or a disruption in I don't know if it's only my side, but anyways, before we continue, I just want to greet a few people that has joined in on our conversation tonight. Good evening to Mr. Mornay, Michael Press. Mornay, good evening, a very good friend of mine. He says beautiful, and I think he's making a reference to the introduction clip of Dikant. Thank you, Mornay. I appreciate your support and also your sentiments expressed. And then Cindy Powell says celebrating ECD workers, mostly women, full of value indeed. Yes, indeed. And I think this is a sector that we that is often overlooked. The early childhood development centers. They do amazing work. I say to myself when I look at the foundation phase teachers, you require a special kind of breed of teacher almost to, because really, there's patience that you need there, but at another level. Jackie Serfontaine says, good evening, Jackie. Oops, wait, what happened to Jackie's one? To deal with students, you need nerves of steel. The future is female. That's your superpower. Absolutely. Thank you, Jackie. And Lisa Martinet, that is Viskanda Yefi, Lazette Boys. Good evening. Excited to be inspired. Thank you, ma'am, for joining in. We appreciate your presence here even tonight. And she further goes on to say, wow, for the live subtitles. Fast fingers, my goodness. Okay, well, listen, for the rest of you, thank you very much who've joined in. We will continue the conversation, and our apologies if the sound or the visuals are a little bit distorted. But again, as I said, we try our level best, and the rest we leave in God's hands. All right, Anthea, now let me throw this one in there. Earlier in the week, DBE has well, they didn't pronounce yet, but there are these rumors that DBE is planning on canceling the October holidays. Do you agree with that or not?
So I've been asked this opinion as a spokesperson for the PPA. So I would imagine that you are asking me in my personal opinion.
Personal
Having
opinion.
engaged with quite a number of teachers, principals, and even learners, I think it would be really ill-conceived if they got away with this. I don't think they are in tune with what is happening at ground level in the classrooms. We are at the coalface every day. We are struggling, and it's mentally exhausting. Our teachers are tired, and I'm not making apologies because they're always some that try to abuse the situation. Unfortunately, we get them in all spheres, in all sectors, corporate, in schools. And yeah, but those hardworking, committed teachers, they are really doing their utmost, and depriving them of a break, even though it's just a 5-day break. It's like just taking a little bit of a lifeline. It's only going to create a scenario because they are trying to save 5 school days. But that teacher could suffer from burnout, and you can have a lot of teachers that
Yeah.
probably might end up that way, taking then sick leave, which means the
Yeah.
learner is still going to be part of a teacher. So, what is the greater of the two evils? So let teachers, let staff have a break, because really, it is such a challenge. It's like a rat race out there, and you don't know what to expect on any given day. And I think
Mm.
in the response that I gave to a journalist, I said to him that, the officials who make these decisions, they should actually come and spend a week in our schools. Come walk in our shoes, walk beside us, and come and see how we have to make decisions like that at the drop of a hat. And
Yeah.
it's really, yeah. So where they come on this, and if they think that quality teaching and learning is taking place, especially in our township and community schools at this given time, I can say for the past 2 weeks, we've had in excess of 8 teachers absent in a week.
Sure.
And I'm talking
Mm.
about same teachers like every week. So you have parents coming in, you have our past educator assistants coming in, and they are not there to teach. They are basically there to ensure that the learners are doing work. And that is not
Yeah.
teaching and learning. So when
Yeah.
those teachers come back from their leave, or from being COVID positive, isolation, or other even we've got two that's family responsibility leave, having lost, one lost a mother, one lost a son. They've got to come back, and they've just got to now, dive into schoolwork like nothing happened in their lives. And they are, their hearts are sore, and they can't
Yeah.
mourn, they can't grieve. And now they need to just give to the children, because at all costs, we've got to get this 200 days of learning. It has to happen at our schools, because, I just feel that the loss is already so great that trying to recoup that 5 days that was, now sort of
Yeah.
taken up, and that was because of lockdown. It's nobody's fault. So let it
Yeah.
be.
Sure. Yeah. No. No. Really. I was struggling to hear the last part there because this connection seems to work against us here. But just now, in all of these challenges that you've raised, how do you keep smiling in a time like this? How do you remain motivated? How do you keep get your keep on keeping on? What motivates you? What drives you?
I think it's very frustrating if and you're getting that message at night, and I've been in contact with somebody that's tested positive or that's showing symptoms, and it's become such a regular occurrence. And I think when I speak to my fellow principals, and they still post on groups, what do I do? The staff member just said this, that, and the other. So you sort of want a strategy. So what is it that what is the protocol that needs to be followed? If the person is positive, shows symptoms, it's straightforward. There's nothing I can do. It's out of my control. It is what it
Mm.
is. So
Mm.
I have to make sure that teacher's not going to be there. I need to ensure that there is somebody that's going to take the place of that teacher, make the arrangements. If the teacher needs to be off for 10 days, then so be it. I cannot change that. So I
Yeah.
accept that this is the state that we find ourselves in. I've accepted it. I've made peace with it, because if I'm going to be upset at every message call that I'm going to get about a teacher that's not in for whatever reason, and it's not only COVID related, there's other issues as well. There are teachers who have children become ill, and this is real life. And it's not
Mm.
always going to be easy. I think deep down, I also know my staff, and I'm thankful. I mean, they attend school very well. Our attendance is normally about 97%. And Now it is different. And, it's the situation that we find ourselves in. So I think that, as well as my, there's an inner strength and the faith and just peace. And I start each day, as a new day, and you embrace the challenges as you come with whatever skills that you
Yeah.
have, and just try to be logical and try to be calm. And I think that is what has seen me through it. I'm at a point where I don't feel anxious. I'm not scared. I go to school, I do what I must do, I mask up, I keep my distance, I sanitize all the time. And,
Yeah.
and to me, I continue. So, but that's
Mhm.
me. That is the way I deal
Yeah.
with, but I cannot compare the way other teachers are perhaps anxious and they have their own reasons and their fears. But the only thing I fear is I fear God, and my belief is in God, and I do what I need to do, and I believe that He allows me and He gives me the strength to do that to the best of my ability, and still have a smile on my face most of the time. Anyway.
Now we keep smiling. Anthea, before I ask you the very last question, I think we're going to we'll land the plane here due to our tech challenges. But I just want to pick up a couple of comments that came through again. Heidi Vidboy says, "I love the sentiment of being more than just a principal, but rather to invest in a connection with those you're responsible for." Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you, Heidi, for that. And then Elsa Janssen van Rensburg, "We are working much harder than ever." Yes. And I mean, I read, in fact, I mean, Anthony, you would know that the SMTs this year is the most number of days that SMTs ever worked on record. So yes, and
Mm.
not just SMTs, but teachers as well. And I must remember, some teachers are also engaged in marking during school holidays. But besides that, you take your work home during the holidays over weekends. So I think people are stressed and burnt out, I can tell you. And if one were to consider the idea of canceling the holiday the upcoming week, yeah, I will cringe to see the
Mm.
numbers in terms of attendance.
I
Linda
mean, when am I to
Balucci,
bake, Lee, and cook?
yeah, yeah. The Linda says, "I would like to see the Minister of Education in my shoes for 5 days." Well, let's give it 2 days,
Mm.
Linda. All
Yeah,
right. There's quite a
that would
number
be
of comments that are
lovely.
coming through, colleagues. Diane Morgan says, "Well said, Anthea. We at peace with what is in our control. Yes, do what you can." And then this is quite a long one, but Pamela McAvoy, "I think it's ludicrous. Many educators, especially language, are working around the clock. Our grade 12 math teachers is teaching Saturdays and Sundays in order to complete the curriculum, even part of the grade 11 work. Yes, the absenteeism among teachers are high due to COVID-19 positive cases. All these things are taking a toll on a strong school." Yeah, look, that is the reality on the ground, and I think we all are in the same boat. Um, and I want to take this last one. Wait, who's this, Mr.? Is it Alkana? My primary school teacher. Great interview. You know that person, Anthea? Is it
Yes,
Brigasen?
I remember him very well.
All right,
He's
and then
still
I'm
a
gonna.
fellow teacher. I'm very proud of him, and a beautiful
Uh,
voice as well. He sings, and
wonder,
with his voice, he sings in honor to God, and he's really made us proud as a school. Through all the difficulties
fantastic.
and challenges that he's had in his life, he's now teacher at Witteboemer, and yes, he's doing extremely well, and I can only wish him well, and I can see great things for him in the future.
Well, that's a praise report, Ms. Alcala, from your primary school teacher. Great going, sir. Leanne Bathgate, Deputy Director, Labor Relations. We had her on last week. Fantastic. Thank you for all your hard work. We appreciate you. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your kind words. And then Kay Timothy says to us, okay, Pam is just affirming what Pamela has said. So very true. Colleagues, we have unfortunately come to the end of this show. I'm going to ask Anthea to ask you to answer the one last question, and then I'm going to end it off for us. So, Anthea, if all the young women of South Africa, all the young teachers, those who have just started this year, straight from university, if they were listening to you right now, what would you say to them in about 30 seconds?
I would say to them, listen and learn. Take the advice of those more experienced. Yes, they have a lot of new innovative ideas, but those who are at the schools and are experienced, they know what they are talking about. So, with your first year, 2 years, listen and learn and take part in whatever courses, training, and just assess yourself, measure yourself all the time, but don't compare yourself to the others. It's a day at a time. Rome is not built in a day, and it's going to take a while before you get to the position that you, I, and many of the other teachers have are at after the number of years that they have. It's very intimidating, and I speak to my young teachers all the time, and they say, "Oh, Miss, it's like so daunting," and you know. But yeah, you will get there. Believe it.
You better believe it. Have faith. Now, on that note, Ms. Adriaanse, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know it was short notice, and you had your reservations, but I eventually somehow managed to convince you to come on. But we've really appreciated your time. Thank you very, very much. I know you're a busy person, being in the PPA spokesperson, being in the newspaper every other day, and so we really appreciate your time here tonight. And we trust that those who have tuned in have really downloaded some wisdom from you tonight. And so thank you very much. May you grow from strength to strength, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Lee, and thanks for having me on the show, and all the best to all our teachers out there, and especially our women leaders. You know, girl power, you've got it, you can do it, and let's go and show the world something. Thanks.
Yes, let's change the world one bit at a time. Well, colleagues, that's all we have time for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We know it was about a bumpy ride, but we grow day by day. But thank you very much for tuning in. Next week we're back here, same time, same place, as we celebrate another woman warrior in education. So I'm playing us out with something short to motivate and celebrate our special ladies. Stay safe and God bless.
In the mirror, a picture of what could be, one who holds the power to make dreams a reality. Inner strength and beauty, wisdom and grace. You know you've got all that it takes. You've got what it takes to live your dreams in this life. It's all about your time. It's all about the things you've become in your life.